Klaudia Tirico, editor of Demand Gen Report here, and I'm back with another episode of our CXO Conversations. With me today is my good friend, Peter Isaacson, CMO of Demandbase. I'm really, really excited to chat with him today. It's been a while. Peter, how's it going?
Going well. Thanks for having me on this, Klaudia.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. So first things first, we actually just launched, I think it was last week, and Demandbase, you guys are like family. You actually sponsored the report, but it was our 2020 ABM benchmark survey report. We do it every year. And, one of the top challenges still continues to be sales and marketing alignment. It was like top 2 this year. Why do you think it is such a struggle still?
My team laughs at me because I have equated sales and marketing alignment to a marriage, in that it takes work, right?
Yeah.
Like if you start taking it for granted, you start neglecting it, bad things happen. The reality is that sales and marketing alignment is kind of a journey, not a destination. And it always takes kind of focus and new ideas and new thinking and new engagements to make it work effectively. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think one of the other reasons that your survey, which I love every year, has come out and kind of highlighted sales and marketing alignment is that, and I've been using this phrase a lot since COVID started, kind of now more than ever, you've got to make sure that your sales and marketing teams are aligned. You just can't afford as an organization to have a leaky bucket or to have missed opportunities or to have uncoordinated activities between your sales and marketing. So I think it's really become highlighted as just, an incredibly important aspect of a successful go-to-market and successful business results.
Absolutely. So what steps is Demandbase taking to really unify the sales and marketing motion these days?
Yeah, so it's a combination of analog and digital. It's a combination of things that are just best practices and things that, quite frankly, we rely heavily on our own Demandbase ABM platform to take care of. So some of it, the analog types of stuff, it's really just focused on kind of having the right meetings in place with the right people, with the right sharing of data, the right stand-ups, the right, all of those things are really important to a strong and unified sales and marketing organization. So you've got to have those in the right cadences and everything like that. And we really pay attention to doing that at Demandbase. The other thing that the camera just moved because I've got a pug sitting at my feet, kind of wandering around, sniffing for food as he does. So I apologize.
Totally fine, Peter.
Audience.
My cat is literally on my lap, so I'm just hoping she doesn't move. So it's all good.
Hopefully she's napping well.
Yeah.
But the other part of sales and marketing alignment, where we rely on our own technology, is that it's so critical, more than ever really, to actually be working off a common set of data and to be working off a set of insights that are relevant and timely, so that the marketing team knows kind of which accounts they should focus on, the sales team knows which accounts they should be focusing on, and you're coordinating your activities. So actually having technology support that sales and marketing alignment has become more important than ever now.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely agree. And of course, sales and marketing alignment has been, a hot button issue for quite some time already. So this is not really crazy new or shocking to everybody. But given the current climate, do you find that there's been just a massive increase of urgency around accomplishing alignment and really working together to understand customer needs and really help them chart their paths forward together?
Yeah, I think that there has been a trend towards this for, the past 5 or 6 years at least. In part, it was a reaction to kind of the old lead management kind of challenges that we all faced as we were going through traditional demand gen, where, marketers were focused on everything up to an MQL and we threw it over the fence, and, it was kind of a good luck sales, like, hope, you can do something with these. And sales was, basically complaining about like not enough leads, they were bad quality, all of those friction points created an environment where both sides, I think both teams realized we had to get better at this. And I think both sales and marketing folks have really invested kind of time and energy at fixing that. And account-based marketing, where you align on the accounts that matter, has been a great vehicle for this. But the trend's been happening for a while. I think what has accelerated this, as I said, was just COVID, quite honestly. You can't afford to miss any opportunities. You can't afford to have a dysfunctional go-to-market or revenue team. And I think those have created an even greater sense of urgency than existed before to make sure that the teams are on the same page, but also kind of coordinating the dance that's so important between sales and marketing, so you can effectively engage and win and close and retain those most important accounts.
Absolutely. And do you see more organizations kind of jumping into this dance? I mean, obviously sales and marketing alignment is necessary, but what about other organizations? Do we need that, greater alignment there, whether it's customer success, marketing ops, or whatever you name it?
Yeah, I think companies are recognizing that, coordination is actually important across the organization, and being coordinated is better than being uncoordinated. So it's not just sales, or maybe it's sales kind of writ large in its broadest sense, which also includes customer success, because customers are your most important accounts. And I think, folks have talked about retention as the new acquisition. So retaining those accounts. So customer success and coordinating with that team is super important. Your SDR, your BDR team, a critical part of any effort, but especially for account-based marketing, SDR and BDR teams play a critical role. So you've got to be engaged with them. You've got to be feeding them the right information at the right time. You've got to make sure that they're kind of on message with their scripts and who they're contacting and things like that. So I think it does go across the organization without doubt, but also into the CFO, right? Like as budget cuts came in the middle of the summer or later spring, CFO's role, kind of as that person was trying to kind of manage the finances without a lot of perfect information, looking ahead and forecasting what the economic impact of COVID was going to be, became really important for marketers and sales teams to coordinate with their CFO and make sure that there was a common understanding of how we were going to invest our money and actually get an impact from it.
Very cool. So what let's talk about Demandbase a little bit. What kind of conversations are you guys having now with customers and prospects? What new challenges is Demandbase now really working to help them, alleviate?
Sure. It's interesting. So one of the great things about my job is that I get to talk to, dozens, scores, hundreds of CMOs and other marketing leaders just as part of my job. And it's great. So whether it's one-to-one conversations or chat sessions, kind of, bigger Zoom calls where we're all kind of explaining some of the challenges that we're facing from a marketing and kind of go-to-market perspective, what I'm hearing is that it's a combination of old problems and new problems. The old problems are still being wrestled with, right? The data is siloed, the buyer's journey is disconnected. As we've been talking about, sales and marketing sometimes is tough to get on the same page, and we've got to kind of put more effort into that. But then you combine that with some of the newer challenges that folks have faced, the fewer resources that they've got, a technology that's kind of a jumbled mess, quite frankly. Also, just traditional channels are just no longer available to them, right? Some of the tried and true got shut down once COVID hit. So they are struggling with, again, kind of the old challenges, but also a set of new challenges. And what we've been trying to help companies with is, as they go through, no matter how sophisticated they were, all of them are going through some level of digital transformation. Some are going through a lot, and some are going through a little just because the channels aren't there. And we've been helping them with understanding kind of how advertising and how your website engagement and how signals to your SDR team and how your technology can get integrated into your sales enablement applications as another channel. We've been helping them kind of come to terms with all of that so that they can, despite having fewer channels, despite having less money, still achieve the pipeline goals that they're going after and close the revenue that they need to.
You mentioned technology, so I want to jump into that. How is the role of technology evolving for B2B sales and marketing teams? Where are they seeing the most positive impacts, and how do you see that changing the way organizations really collaborate and operate, even next year and in the coming years?
So I'm seeing actually two trends around technologies. One, consolidation is starting to happen, maybe a little bit more slowly than a lot of people predicted. But, those 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 companies that you see in the martech landscape or the Lumascape, those can't exist as standalone for much longer, quite frankly. But you are seeing some consolidation. In fact, earlier this summer, we actually acquired Engagio, which has just been a home run, taking a leader in ABM, combining it with Demandbase, a leader in ABM. And just the combination for us has been incredible, and our customers are so excited about what's to come. Beyond consolidation, though, I think the other challenge that folks are facing is just how disconnected technology remains, right? So every single technology stack that we have with our customers, that we see within our customers, is different. And what they want is the core platforms that you're using, like a Demandbase, they want it to integrate into the rest of their technology stack. And that's been a focus of ours and will be even accelerated in 2021. But this need to be able to share data so that you can kind of create an audience, maybe in the Demandbase ABM platform, and actually execute it across channels, whether that's LinkedIn or through SalesLoft or other applications that are core to our customers' technology stack. So that's become even more important, and I think that's just going to accelerate, kind of connecting into everything to make our customers' lives easier.
Awesome. And I mean, at the end of the day, you want all the data to live in one area, no silos, and having all these integrations. I mean, I've been seeing it a lot. Like, it's definitely critical these days. And of course, I wanted to ask how the acquisition has been going, but clearly that marriage is working out. I see you're probably still in the honeymoon phase, maybe, but that seems to be going well with Engagio, right?
Do I look all dewy-eyed and kind of, we are in the honeymoon phase, but we announced this on June 16th, so about 5 months ago. And for that 5 months, we've been doing the hard work of integrating the platforms, and we're truly taking the very best of Demandbase and the very best of Engagio and combining it into a single no limits ABM platform. It's incredible. The engineering team and the product team have just kind of pulled off a miracle by creating this, and we're literally about to launch it next week, and come out with it. So the exciting part about it is that it will provide kind of one set of data, one look into the buyer's journey, one unified sales and marketing motion. So because of kind of the one data, one sales and marketing, one buyer's journey, it was kind of natural that we named the platform Demandbase One. So coming out with that. That's the sneak peek on this, but we're super excited about this.
Yeah, you heard it here first, everyone. But Peter, tell me about the process of launching a new platform during a pandemic. I mean, it couldn't have been easy with everyone working from home, and I'm sure your Zoom, your calendar was packed with Zoom meetings and all that stuff. What was that all like? What was that whole process and planning and getting it all in motion like?
Honestly, it's been crazy. I mean, first of all, we bought a company during the pandemic. So,
yeah.
I know John Miller from, all of the stuff that we've done in the industry, and we were partnering on a bunch of stuff. So I know John Miller. I've met him a bunch of times. Our CFO, who was one of the primary negotiators of this deal, has still, to this day, not met John Miller. So some of the key parties just don't get a chance to kind of meet and break bread and have dinner and kind of get to know each other. So it started off kind of being very strange from that perspective. Now, as we've come together as a company, it had the actual engineering and product development process has been as smooth as if we were all working together in an office, quite frankly, because they figured out how to collaborate, how to work together really effectively. I think the more challenging part has been coming together with folks outside of engineering and product, where relationships really do matter, and the trust and confidence that you build by actually being in the same office together or meeting kind of once a quarter at a QBR or things like that. That's tough to replace, and that's been some of the hard work that we've done to make sure that we've kind of gotten that connective tissue between the organizations and the companies together.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm really excited about the launch, and I think you guys have like a whole event for it, right? For the big launch.
We do. So not sure when this is going to air, but our launch event for Demandbase One, kind of one vision, one platform, is coming up on November 11th. So very excited about that. We've got myself, Gabe Rogel, our CEO, and John Miller, who is our Chief Product Officer, giving the keynote, followed by multiple sessions on things like sales and marketing alignment and a common view of the customer journey and a single data application. So lots of great stuff coming up on the 11th.
Very cool. And we just finished, we just wrapped up our virtual event. You have one coming up next week. What's it like? I mean, we kind of spoke before we started recording, and you kind of said it was it's almost easier to put on a physical event, and I 100% agree. But any other kind of takeaways that you could share with our audience about putting together a virtual event? Because I can't stress enough how difficult it is and how necessary it is to really come together and put this on.
Yeah, I mean, it is super challenging, and you guys, quite frankly, set a high bar because your event was outstanding. So congratulations to you and the team for putting on together truly a marquee event. I think part of the challenge for me when I was talking about that before we really started recording was just that the presentations themselves, I find so much easier to do. I'd rather present in front of 1,000 people, 1,200 people, than present just me, myself alone in front of a camera, speaking into Zoom. It's so difficult to have energy, convey energy. And, you're in a real audience setting, you're just feeding off of that audience. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And I think that's why a lot of people are having Zoom fatigue, right? Because it's tough to convey that energy. So our goal was to make it super interesting content, compacted into small, chunks. There aren't, 1 hour presentations or anything like that. They're all kind of shorter segments, capture people's attention, have really interesting people talk about really interesting topics, and then kind of move it along quickly and keep going. And, there have been some great examples of folks doing that over the past 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. And I mean, your event earlier this year, I think it was like literally right when the pandemic hit, you guys were supposed to have your event in San Francisco. And that went, I thought it was awesome when you guys did it virtually. I thought it was great. So I feel like it should be
Thank you.
fairly easy for next week.
Thank you. That was one of the heartbreaks of of COVID, quite frankly, because we had done 95% of the work on our ABM Innovation Summit, and we made the hard call to cancel it. I think it was a week and a half before we were supposed to do it, and it was just interesting. It feels so long ago now, but it was interesting. At the time we did it, we felt like it was the right decision, but there was a lot of hand wringing with it, and about 2 days later, it just became so obvious that, wow, there's no way we were going to hold this conference. Like, things are just moving so quickly. But actually, B2B Marketing Exchange was the last event that that I went to.
Yeah, we seem to be getting very, very lucky on the event standpoint, but can't complain. And I mean, that was an awesome event. I was so bummed I couldn't make it. We couldn't go to the ABM Innovation Summit. I was so excited for that one. Hopefully,
it was a bummer for the
year.
team. We'll be back.
Yeah, all good. So I'd love to kind of shift the conversation over to you a little bit. Tell me about your role as CMO of Demandbase. How long have you been in the role, and what have been some of your key learnings and top priorities so far?
Yeah, so I have been CMO at Demandbase for a little over 6.5 years now. So nice. What is that, like 5 years more than the expected life expectancy of a CMO at a company, and certainly far longer than I thought I would be at Demandbase. But it's been such a great run and such an interesting ride, and there's so much left to accomplish, quite frankly, for us, that it continues to stay exciting. I guess the most important is, after 6.5 years, you have to keep it fresh. You've got to always be pushing yourself to make sure that you're not falling into some type of rut where it's like, oh yeah, we'll just run, rinse and repeat on what we did last year, or kind of, we got the execution plan, we're just going to kind of do it the same way. And it's easy to lose energy if you're not challenging yourself and challenging your team to keep reinventing kind of how you're approaching things. Now, COVID itself has thrown a massive wrench into everything that we did, so wasn't an option. But I think, someone, to use a football analogy, someone kind of commented that Jim Harbaugh, the former coach of the 49ers, he was great, but after a while, his message started kind of not getting through to the team, and that's when he knew it was time to go. You got to make sure, as a CMO or any leader, that your message isn't getting so stale that the team's not hearing it anymore. You just got to keep it very fresh and be, focusing on trying new things and failing at new things, but always moving the ball forward.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with, in marketing, the buyer's journey and buyer preferences are changing so rapidly all the time that you just have to keep up. You can't, stay in the same lane all the time, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the category of ABM, the broader market of B2B, and certainly more narrowly Demandbase, all three of those are so different than when I joined the company in 2014. That seems like 2 lifetimes ago, but everything has changed. So you're right. So with so much changing, you've got to change with it and keep reinventing yourself. And I think Demandbase has done a particularly good job at continuing to kind of ride ABM, but reinvent ourselves and introduce kind of new things for our customers that are kind of making a meaningful difference for them.
Awesome. And speaking of new things, and I mean, I know, the new platform is launching so soon, but what else do you guys have in store for 2021? How, what are you planning for in the new year? What's going to go on in this for the rest of the year and beyond?
Well, I mean, it's so exciting to have Demandbase One and come together as a single unified platform once we have that, then there's so much that we can do. There's so much talent in the organization and so much energy to solve challenges that our core customers are having. So some of the things that we're going to be focused on, one, I talked about integrations. We are going to lean so heavily into integrations and making sure that we are kind of the center of a really high functioning technology stack. So that's critical. Second is, again, we talked about sales and marketing alignment. There's those themes, but there's so much left to do that we can do to help teams come together and, just customize and personalize and, quite honestly, systematize kind of how insights are delivered to sales folks, how it's coordinated and how their efforts are coordinated with marketing teams. So a lot will be focused on the sales and marketing unification and making sure that those teams move in a single kind of common motion. And then the next thing is, automation. There's so much around AI and machine learning that's yet kind of undeveloped. And I'd say that we've probably got the best technology foundation in the category. And that's going to allow us to truly do things that automate the experience and synthesize data and translate it to action in a way that we could only dream about a couple of years ago. We've heard about things called next best action for a while now. That's actually becoming a plausible reality. And I'm not saying next best action in terms of, the machine is recommending what you should do next, and then you've got to manually turn dials. I'm talking about true next best action that really kind of synthesize and automates the translation of data into action in a way that accelerates the buyer's journey. So a lot of exciting things coming down the pike now that we've got the integrated platform.
Very cool. And I look forward to seeing it all come to life and seeing all the success stories from customers. So it's going to be hopefully a much, much better year next year than this year. Although I personally, I don't want to, we can't complain here. I know you guys had some great stuff and success going on this year, despite the what's going on in the world. So as long as it just keeps getting better, we'll be good. Well, Peter, that is all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me. I'm so excited to hear about the new product next week. Everyone, that's a wrap on another episode of CXO Conversations. Thank you, Peter, and thank you all for watching.